Oh, so let me tell you my story here. I wasn't my story. Let me think. What should I, where should I start with my story? So I wasn't always interested in real estate since I was a little boy, but it was always something that I was exposed to. My father was in real estate, but never really took any risks. He was an appraiser for commercial real estate, and he started a division of a company that focused on appraising commercial real estate when times got really hard and he couldn't sell real estate. I didn't even know what he did when I was younger. It was just something that happened around me without me knowing. So, my story. So, I went to college, I graduated college, and I got a job working for my dad. I started by learning how to appraise property, and it took a long time for me to get any kind of ambition to learn about it because it was something I just felt like I was doing just because I had to make money. At that point in time, I was in a relationship and I was getting married and I learned how to do it and I made decent money doing it. I started buying things like my first house and cars and a motorcycle and lots of toys and things that I never really needed. And then one day I realized that I hated appraising and I hated writing reports. And then in that same time I had to do it. So I just kept on going and learning, and I didn't realize how much I was actually learning from the work I was doing more than maybe the coursework that I had to do to get there. Um, I also got the chance to meet a lot of people investing in real estate that became really successful. Those people that I met, um, in the beginning, maybe the first time I met them, they were just normal income class or normal people, what I would consider like normal. I guess everyone's normal, but they didn't seem like they were just super wealthy. And they were buying like regular assets or regular pieces of real estate, like, you know, a junky motel or a tiny duplex or a small office building or whatever it might be for as an investment or as their personal office or whatever it might be. And then, I worked with those people for years. And then as every time I would work with them again and do another appraisal or another valuation or another task for them, they kept getting wealthier and they kept compounding their wealth. And I realized that at some point, what am I doing helping these people? Why don't I just do it myself? I wasn't really I guess that's not true. So that is true, but that's not really how it works. So I saw people growing their wealth. I ended up appraising, getting tons of experience. I would guess that I would appraise or value or evaluate about $1 billion in real estate a year towards the end of my appraising career. Uh, and those properties became larger and larger as I became more experienced because I was able to evaluate more complex things. And I wasn't planning on starting there. You have to start from the bottom and you have to, get there. So I thought, um, why don't I consult for everyone? So I started consulting and talking to these investors and helping them make sound decisions on what they should be looking at, or what do I think about a property, or what do I think this piece of a property's worth, or whatever it might have been. And then that's when I realized that I want to buy real estate and I want to make it my goal because I saw their wealth increasing, their workload decreasing, and their life becoming more free and more fun, and I had the desire to get there. So in my 30s, or maybe when I was 30, I decided to commit to it and sell everything I had and then find a market that I felt like I could start in. You know, I decided to move across the country to do it by chance, but I could have done it where I was. And I think anyone can do it where they are, maybe not directly where they live, but within a reasonable distance of themselves, that they could buy something that had a larger potential gain and a lower purchase price so that they could get into the market with less money. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I sold everything, my house, my cars, all my stuff that like I really didn't need, like gym equipment and, remote control cars I had from when I was younger, and all this stuff that you have around your house or you have acquired and is sitting there losing value. I sold everything. I sold everything except for the clothes I needed and I some furniture and like the things I really like doing, like my bikes. I liked riding pedal bikes. I like riding pedal bikes. I liked kayaking. I like the outdoors. I like fishing. So like I kept the core items that I was using consistently. And then I uprooted my life and I moved to that market, or I found a market, and then I sat in that market and tried to learn it and tried to find my first deal. You know, that's the hard part. My first deal was a piece of land that I got because I cold called lots of people trying to find like off market deals and try to figure out the local market and see what I should be buying. And eventually someone offered me a piece of land that I thought was worth more than they were willing to take for it. And it was a deal that they were willing to owner finance me on, which I didn't need, because it wasn't a huge purchase price. So I didn't need it specifically, but it was interesting, or it was, appealing to me because they were willing to owner finance me. I could put, 20% down or 25% down on it, and they would owner finance me the balance. So at that point, it seemed more achievable. You, before that, I also took the money I had that I got from selling everything, and I put aside what I was comfortable investing with, or what I was comfortable risking to try to do this life, um, which at that point was a decent amount of money. I don't want to discourage anyone by saying how much I put down, but I put $150,000 aside for this after selling everything I owned in my 30s. And I want you to realize that I want to immediately say I didn't need that much money. I didn't use that much money to start. My first deal, this piece of land, was $20,000 down and owner finance. So I had a payment that I had to make. And because it was land, I didn't have any income. So I had to make those payments out of that fund, which changed because I bought a second property and that property's income paid for that loan. But um, let's just break it down to that first deal. So like I um, I bought it. So I bought this piece of land. It was $86,000. I put $20,000 down, and then I financed the rest. Um, at that point in time, I had these grand goals of developing it. I knew a lot about land development, and I wanted to subdivide it maybe, but in reality, I really just wanted to get the plan ready, not even get anything approved, and then propose it to developers so that it had some legs to stand on and they could see the vision. I went to the zoning department and made sure that they were okay with it and figured out water, sewer, gas, electric. And so I had a better presentation to present to someone on this piece of land. And then on this one, I got a buyer that was willing to buy it as a development piece, and it was a significant value add. But at the same time, I was in Colorado, and Colorado has a water issue where like water is hard to come by. And the local informed me that I was no longer able to get the rights to the water to get this subdivision. So my deal fell through almost immediately. And I was really down on myself and I felt like I was making bad decisions. So I listed the piece of property for sale for, I don't know, maybe $200,000. So a lot more than I paid for it. And hoping that some, wealthy person would buy this big piece of land to build their dream home on. And luckily enough, someone made me an offer for $150,000 and I immediately took it. Um, I don't know if I got lucky, but I think that it was worth more than that. And it was definitely worth more if you ever got the rights to the water back, which was possible. I could have fought for it, but at that point in my career, it wasn't worth it. So, so I did that. And this was my start. So like 86,000, let's say I carried it for like 12 months. My payment was like $1,200 a month or so. So I was in it, I spent like 30 to $40,000 getting it. I sold it for 150 and I walked away with my initial investment, plus $50,000. So I turned 20,000 into, I doubled my money, or I tripled my money, however you want to look at it. I turned 20 into 50, but I kept my 20. So it was really like turning 20 into 70, and then at the same time, I was making other deals. I don't want to go in too much into every one of my deals, but I do want to tell you the first one and how I got my start in it. It was challenging. This is I'm also starting vlogs and starting a YouTube channel because I enjoy teaching people about commercial real estate. I think it's something that everyone wants to buy houses and duplexes, and commercial real estate is something that not many people talk about. I feel like you'll find a lot of investors or investment outlets or investment channels or investment content talking about rental houses and buy, renovate, refinance and flippers and all this small type of acquisitions of homes or residential real estate. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy residential real estate, but that's just not what I'm about. I think that a lot of these people tell you to buy duplexes and residential houses and then, flip them and burr them. And those people that are telling you how to do it, they don't do it anymore. Like, I feel like, yeah, maybe they got their start doing it because it's what they knew, but I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best outlet for anyone to I don't think you have to start there. And I also don't think it's the best place to start. I think the commercial real estate market is easier. The value adds are better. They're less work. There's less risk. You make the right decisions. You do the right evaluations. You limit your risk because you know what you're doing and you like have a plan that's really achievable going into it. And it's not based on like market conditions, which, well, it's based on market conditions, but it's not based on like, if I put a new kitchen in there, these people will like the kitchen and then they'll pay more for this place, hypothetically. Like what I do is like people pay for income, like real estate, they're buying income streams. They're not buying properties. Yeah, they do buy properties, but they're really looking at income streams. It's all numbers. So like, I know that if the numbers change in this way, people will pay more for it, irrelevant of how nice the kitchens or the carpets are. It's just irrelevant. It's an irrelevant factor. The only thing that would change that is if the carpets or the kitchens or the roof needed replacement, and then you'd have to give them a discount for that. But you would know that walking into it, and I would make sure that you understand enough about real estate that you take that into consideration so that when you sell it, you can give them the money for a new roof and you still would make a great return. Cause like I've done that. That's not every time I sell something or every time I plan on selling something or plan on buying something, I take those factors into consideration in the beginning. You know, one of my goals was also to grow fast. So like, a lot of people like, I would like to keep everything I own or everything I've ever bought, or everything I've ever bought that makes me money, I'd like to keep, or anything I ever bought that I think would go up in value, I'd like to keep. But in reality, I can't do that because I need to grow. So I need to, buy, add value, sell, and then take the larger, you know, cash position and put it into something else and then grow that and sell that until I feel comfortable that keeping something won't hamper where I want to get to, if that makes sense. And I feel like you all, or everyone watching this, or everyone that wants to learn this, should have a similar path in the beginning. I don't know many investors that I've worked with that came from, that started or came from nothing or, came from a little bit of something, but nothing really big, just like middle class people that kept everything they owned. It's just not realistic. I think it slows you down significantly unless you make some kind of ridiculous, achievement or lucky situation. Like you win the lottery in real estate, other than that, you just can't keep everything. You just can't, you can't keep anything really until you can. And at that point, you have to determine where that point is that you feel like you want to get to before you start keeping stuff. But, for me, I'm not even close to that yet. So, another thing I want you guys to know is that, I started this roughly 3.5 years ago. It took me, 11 months to get my first deal. So I'm not much over 2 years ahead of you. I probably didn't have much more money than you have right now when I started, or I probably didn't need much more than you have when I started. And I think that you have to, can't be discouraged. You can't be scared. And that's one thing that I really struggled with, that I felt like like I could fail, and I needed to make sure that, I was successful, and I was scared of what people thought of me. Same as like starting this channel. Like I'm scared that my family and friends are going to look at it, or people that I want to be friends with, or people I meet are going to look at this and they're going to look at me differently. But I don't care. I don't care what people think about me anymore. You know, I feel like the people I care about the most are my family and my friends. But if my friends don't like me or judge me, it is what it is. I'm not real worried about it, because in reality, I think if you listen to me or they listen to me, it could change your life. Nothing's easy and nothing comes without work, but you know, you definitely can make things easier, and you definitely can do stuff with less work. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'll probably make another vlog about my story and reiterate some of these things. I wanted to give myself a year or 2 years to do this and really commit to it. And I did. And and I'll tell you one thing, it changed my life. Um, I feel like even good days feel bad sometimes, but even bad days feel good, if that makes sense. I think you'll know it more when you're in real estate. You have to appreciate the little things, because everything's important. Um, I hope you follow along with me, and you do decide to commit to doing something or some change in your life, if you are interested in this type of information. What I learned about wasn't just real estate, it's also, business values. And, I would help you sell and buy a business and determine how you can make more money, and, how you could own it. And the plan is to sell it or keep it, whatever it might be. Sorry, I'm just backing up. So I just got to the property where I'm working today. Today I'm showing a space to a tenant, taking some photos to write a lease, and then I have a lunch meeting with other investors. So right now that's my day, and I hope you guys have a good one. And please look at the links below. I have a quick evaluation book that you can look at. I need to make a video about how to go through that. And I also have a Patreon. I really appreciate it if you want me to help you, analyze some of your deals, or if you want to just communicate with me through that or support me. One of my goals is to take all the money I make from any of this content I create and then give you 100% transparent process of buying a piece of real estate, making a deal, adding value, creating forced appreciation, and then what the income is, what our expenses are, and then the resale. And then I want you to watch how this process compounds as we just keep moving the equity in deals further and further, but starting with just what this channel makes. And I'll probably have everyone decide, what type of asset or what our first purchase price is within a range of what I can make happen. And then I just want to walk you through the most transparent, entire process on this channel or through my content, so that you feel like you're more involved and you feel like it's more achievable. And I'll probably start with something fairly inexpensive, and then we'll just watch it grow. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I look forward to making more content for everyone.